I've explained in previous videos that this is a CFV 5-string P5 tuned cello, fiddle, violin, guitar. Okay, so it's got a completely different tuning, but it's not so foreign that we can't figure it out. We can figure it out. We can figure it out. It's got double string shapes, but those string shapes are actually inverse of the string shapes pattern stack, and we'll get to that in the next chart. So the easy cello rule and easy fiddle violin rule, here's the rules kind of summarized right here. For the fiddle, you would add 1 caged, but what's more important, because this 5 could just as easily be down on the bottom string on the C string anyway, right? So it doesn't matter. The bottom string rule is for cello. It could be fiddle if you just want to play, a string shape, a cage shape of advance. It would be add 1 caged. So obviously you add 1 cage to A and you get C, right? Or actually add 1 cage to C and you get A. So add 1 cage to this C here and you get your A. We're going to cover that in the next chart and make that. We're going to remove that ambiguity. What perspective are we looking at? From the perspective of playing the P5 or the perspective of playing the P4? If you're playing the P5, we have an E string shape down here because it's defined by 7 root 2, and you know the bottom string, a string is a string is a string, right? 7 root 2. Okay? A string is a string, so we're going to call that E. You know that E is the shape that is going to be built upon that E is called the E shape. We can call it the E shape. We'll see why, how easy it is. Look at this. Root 5 on the open string. Fret bar right there. Root 5, 3 root 5. That is the E shape. Now with this is the lowest note is C. Okay? And we're going to call that R, because the first shape, as you know, similar to guitar, when we're down on the E shape, we can do it capo it in the key of E, because it's easier this way. Watch. Here's our E shape, right? Okay, but really the E string shape is 7 root 2. So that D sharp is the 7th. Okay, same thing with cello fiddle, as I found out. So we're going to call that the C right there. And we've got an E-shaped C, but it is the 4th of guitar. So C is the 4th of E in string shapes and in caged. Why in caged? I'll give you a simple explanation. We're going to play a C-shaped C and an E-shaped F. C-shaped C. The 4th of C is F. That's an E-shaped F. There. The 4th of the C shape is the E shape. Same thing with fiddle guitar. Okay, so, but we still have to know what we're doing. Are we looking at this and converting it to that and yada yada? Okay, here's another look from a previous chart. It makes it a little easier. We're going to exclude the top string of the guitar, and we're going to call the bottom string of the 5 string the string that's not there. Not this guy. Notice there's no string here, because I rerouted the E string over to the B string slot. If I could just run that from the B string tightener, I'd be a very happy person. But it doesn't matter. The point is, there's nothing but black up here. Those are not all accidentals. Those are just no note there. There's no. I should have put wood there, like a grainy, woody color there, because that sometimes fools me. So that's it. The Phantom 6th string is really underneath. So we're gonna exclude that one. We're gonna exclude the top string of the P4 tuning, and we're left with, believe it or not, C, G, D, A, E notes. That's the cage system. C, G, D, A, E, mirror image. I'm over here now. Let's look at this piano keyboard for a second. The string shapes are written on the accidentals. So we have C is 3, 4, 5, the A is 5, 6, the G is 6, 7 root, the E is 7 root 2. Remember we talked about E being the 7 root 2? And D is 2, 3, 4. There are rules for that. Each string shape has bookend isolation. So the 5, 6, A short string shape, these are the short ones now, the caged ones, if you will. They're not modal. They're not modal. By the way, what's remaining after caged is 4, 7, and 2, which is our diminished mode, our diminished triad. So all we really want is root 2, 3, 5, and 6. Root 3, 5 is major. Root 3, 6 is the natural minor. But the point here is that there's bookend isolation in the string shape. So the 5, 6 string shape is bookend isolated by G, the C and the G. So that is definitely an A. The 6, 7 root G string shape is bookend isolated by the A and the E. So that leaves G in the middle. As we go around this circle, we're going 1 major Ionian, 2 minor Dorian, 3 minor Phrygian, 4 major Lydian, 5 major Mixolydian, 6 minor Aeolian, 7 minor diminished, half diminished, is Locrian. If we start with C as the first shape, okay, then D minor is the second shape. Alright, E minor is the third shape. E major is the fourth shape, remember? The E shape is the fourth of the C shape. And the fifth of the E shape, which is F, F's fifth is C, is the C shape. So it reciprocals there. G shape is the fifth. A minor shape is the sixth. Now with the tuning third here, with the A minor shape like this, it's not shaped like an E minor anymore. But what shape has the E minor as its relative? Then you go up 1 pentatonic, it would be the G shape. So if I put the capo on the G here, we have the G shape. We have the G shape here. That would be the capo on the 6th rather, because the G string shape is 6, 7 root right there. Okay, so we'd have the G string shape to go ahead 1 caged for its natural minor. G goes to E. There's an E minor shaped A minor. Alright, we're back. We're heading up to the end of the first segment here, so I always get like segment fright. You know, whereas once it goes to another segment, I fear that somebody's going to just watch that segment and I have to rehash the whole discussion. So please, folks, try to follow them in order. They're easy to follow. I've done it on YouTube. You just watch the video and then sidebar, it'll be the first video there. It'll be the very next part.